Hi, I'm Dr. Niamh Flynn, a performance psychologist based in the west of Ireland. Now, today we're talking about diabetes and hypnosis. Hypnosis is a tool to access the subconscious part of the mind. Here we have the conscious mind, the rational, reasoning mind. And here's the subconscious, where we store our habits, our belief systems, things that we do routinely. So, for example, driving a car. When you learn how to drive a car, when you get back into your car, you don't have to think about how to drive your car. It's there, it's happening. Now, some habits are very useful and some habits are not so useful, and we want to change them. There's lots of misconceptions about hypnosis, so let's look at those first. A lot of people believe that the hypnotist will have control over your mind, or that you're asleep when you're in trance, or that you won't wake up. None of these are true. You're completely in control when you're in trance. You can come out of trance anytime you wish. Now, with diabetes, we could look at fear of needles or helping somebody to curb sugar cravings. So if somebody has been advised to cut back on sugar or eliminate it completely, hypnosis can be very useful. It takes the pain out of giving up sugar and of administering needles if one has a fear of needles. And you're very much in control throughout a hypnosis session. Some people will describe getting a very heavy sensation in their limbs or a lightness. They might feel as though they're floating, or they'll see very vibrant colours, oranges and purples and blues. And others just feel like they're daydreaming, like nothing has happened. But then they usually notice that something has changed in their thinking. So for example, with sugar cravings, generally as hypnotherapists or hypnotists, we use suggestion work. And we will give suggestions that the person finds it easy to avoid eating sugary foods and that they stick to their prescribed eating plan. Now, a lot of people report seeing a difference even after the first session, and you could use it to curb the appetite, decrease the appetite. Often clients will come back after their first session and say, gosh, I really didn't even think about eating any sugary foods or cakes or sweets. And that needs to be reinforced. So for my clients, I do 6 sessions over 6 weeks generally. Some never need to come back. Some need a top up here and there. It usually depends on how busy their lifestyles are and how motivated they are. And of course, what the consequences are as well. There's a few key areas that are important. When you're going to a hypnotist, it's important that you're motivated to achieve results, because nobody can give you any suggestions that you don't want. Your mind will simply reject them. You also need to be quite committed. So in the case of giving up sugar, that you have a plan that is very clear and that you know what foods you're going to have at breakfast, lunch, dinner, until you get into that routine. Now, for fear of needles, if somebody has been advised to use injections and they have a fear of needles, we can use what's called age regression. And age regression is when we go back in time and see, why did this person suddenly find that they're afraid of needles? Because we weren't born with a fear of needles. So it is something that has developed over time. Now, we don't go changing memories, but we change emotions that are attached to those memories. So you see, there's lots of ways we can use hypnosis to help with diabetes. And thankfully, over the last 10, 12 years, MRI scans and different types of imaging techniques have enabled us to see what is going on in the brain when somebody is in trance. There's lots of different physiological changes. So we now know that the same suggestions given in a hypnotic trance will affect completely different parts of the mind than the same suggestions given out of trance. So there you have it. Lots of ways to use hypnosis that can help you with diabetes.